I think I'll be good. Thank you, though.
So how do you know that? Just from the neighborhood?
Yeah, I'm just right. I'm on Sylvan Avenue right inside of Sylvan Avenue. And I lived there for 7 years and then spent for 13 or 15 years just on Redondo on the water down there. So I've been in the area since 2008. I grew up in Hollywood. Okay. Yeah, I went to high school with Judge. So I kind of grew up kind of in this area. I went to school with 11 years. I just loved the home. My wife and I got married. My first home we bought in Arizona. Daughter graduated from Highland this spring. So my son from Hillside Middle. All right, we got it. Yeah, she had a year. So I mean, they knew each other, but you know, yeah, a little bit. I mean, yeah, yeah. Usually the kids kind of have their own groups and kind of do their own. Yeah, that's true. I'm hoping she can kind of show us the ropes.
There are more chairs in the back. Oh. Billy, you want to sit down? You good? You want to sit down? Okay. All right, guys, let's get going. Is this a good spot?
Can you see yourself?
Yeah.
Excellent.
All right, so anybody who's presenting tonight needs to stand in front of the camera. We've already had a few comments on YouTube. Welcome to the February edition of the Sugar House Council. I'm Landon Clark. I'd like to thank the Neighborhood Hive for hosting us and for Derek running a fantastic meeting last month for us. So, well done. We want to show off our new Sugar House Community Council sign. Well, Sugar House sign on the side of the 1300 East Bridge. You guys ever really seen this?
Yeah.
It's an act of God to get this thing.
Wow.
Yeah. So Mindy Smith couldn't make it tonight, so I am making a plea. Family Services at Highland High School needs our help. They are looking for flour, sugar, cooking oil, snacks, pasta sauce, cold cereal, shampoo, and conditioner, please. You can drop it off here at the Hive, or you can take it down to Highland High School. And then Holly here has to get home to her kids, so we're going to have her go first. This is the Sugar House Park update.
Would you read that list again? Flour, sugar.
Yeah. Flour, sugar, cooking oil, snacks, pasta sauce, cold cereal, shampoo, and conditioner. The basics.
Hey, I am Holly Nichols. I'm the current president of the Sugar House Park Authority Board. We are a group of volunteers that work with the city and the county to make decisions on behalf of the park. And I'm here to plug our board opening. We have an opening that's going to be coming on board in April, and we're hoping to do interviews at our March meeting. So if you are interested or know anyone that might be, you can go to our website at sugarhousepark.org, and immediately something will pop up with the link to go learn more and apply. We're also very interested in anyone with a finance or accounting background. And if you do have that, the board position will be super easy for you because you'll just be doing what you know. So yeah, tell your friends we'd love to have you all as our next board member.
That's it. Thank you. Hey, don't you get a new pavilion this year?
There will be our big initiatives right now are replacing the pavilions, which are in rough shape. We have the first one funded and in production. Yes. George got us 75% of the way there, and then the pandemic hit. So first one's gonna be at Fabian Lakeside. Date sort of unsure, but this year, and then more to come.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, we have a question over here. Oh wait, who's on your board? Go ahead, Richard.
It's initiated an incredible signage program that we're going to be slowly implementing starting this spring. It's great. It pushes wayfinding signage ahead of every other park in the county. So thank you, Holly, for that.
Sign, it's like Joe Hill, pavilion, signage, things are happening.
Thank you. And 5Ks. A lot of 5Ks. All right, Sam Fallows.
I think I'm just gonna yell, man. This thing never microphone was not working. Remember last time?
Just get the camera.
Remember this camera?
I'll try. Oh, I see it does this.
I'm learning how to use the knobs on the back a little bit better.
This microphone doesn't like me.
All right.
I'm Detective Sam Fallows. I'm the community liaison detective for this area for District 7, which we're all Sugar House. So it's great to be here with you all tonight. Got a couple of good updates to share with you for our crime stats and how we're going to be reporting those and how you guys can all access those on our website now. So we've updated how we do that. But before we get into that, let me give a couple of just reminders on some things. So just want to go over the SLC mobile app one more time. I've been kind of doing this with all my community councils just to remind everyone. So SLC mobile is something that you download from the App Store, and it's something that you utilize for anything that is non-criminal and you don't need a police response immediately for. So for instance, a camp that might be in an alleyway behind your house, a concern regarding homelessness, you can utilize it for like a down stop sign in your neighborhood, or if there's a light that's not functioning, or there's sometimes like the crosswalk lights aren't working, which are important so we don't get run over. So like if those kinds of things, you can report all those on the app. What we don't want to use the app for, and where there's some confusion, is like if you're seeing like a drug deal go down that you believe is a drug deal, or if you're seeing like a crime, like a theft, if you have a theft, like we don't want you to report that on the app because the police department doesn't necessarily see those. So the app actually goes straight to like, if it's a concern regarding homelessness, which is probably one of the most common ones that we utilize, that goes to our HEART team, and that's the outreach team that does all the homeless outreach and all that stuff. And I work with them, but the department itself doesn't necessarily see any of that. So if you want to report a crime, you got to like call us. Yeah.
So we had an incident, actually two of them, where we had dogs that were loose. I'm right on 900, between 800 and 900 on the corner at Westminster. And the dog wanted to go into traffic on 900.
Yeah.
Do we use the app for that?
No, yeah, don't use the app for that because that's an immediate response. So again,
But then tell that to the person on the non-emergency number that I talked to that said about the warning, it might take 2 hours. And I'm thinking, the dog's going to get killed, people are going to try to divert around the dog, we're going to end up with an accident and no one seems to care.
no, that's frustrating. I get that. So on the police department side of things, we have to prioritize our calls according to how serious they are compared to how not serious. And obviously that is serious, but we have to look at like domestic violence, our stabbings, our shooting. Those things obviously are going to come first, right? Obviously. So on our end, it might take us a little bit longer to respond. Animal control is usually the one that would respond to that. If it's during business hours, they should be able to respond fairly quickly. If it's not, we don't have a lot of control of like over animal control and how quick they respond. So we could certainly try and respond as officers to try and like corral the dog down the street, but we're not quick to like deal with that kind of stuff. So it's not really something you get from a patrol response, but definitely not for the app because it'll take 3 days before anybody even sees it. So yeah, so the app is really just to report like issues you're seeing like with camps or with like a down stop sign in your neighborhood. You can utilize it to for speeding enforcement. If you want speed enforcement in your neighborhood, you can upload speeding issues, and our motor division will get that as like a tip, and they can come out to your neighborhood and do speed enforcement. You can also do that on our website through the Speed Watch. I know that's like a popular one. So there's a couple of different things for the app, but not for reporting crimes. Like speeding is a crime, obviously, but if you want someone to come out in your neighborhood to check on the speeding, utilize the app. Don't call dispatch. That's not going to. They will come.
I use it so many times for graffiti, and it works so well for that.
Yeah, graffiti. We are on top of that. Like the city's sometimes same day. Like they're really good with the graffiti. So thank you. Yeah, that was a great. Graffiti is another really good one. With the graffiti, the only one I would ask is, because graffiti is criminal as well, if you can snap just a quick picture of it, and then you can also make an. So this is where the confusion is coming in. So I'm going to try not to confuse everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have the SLC mobile app. Okay, we have slcpd.com. Two different things. Okay, one's an app, one's on the internet.com. On our website, you can do a police report that will count, that we will see, that we will, will count for statistic in the neighborhood for a crime, that we will see. It goes to the police department. Or the graffiti, or there's several different crimes you could do on there. You can do like thefts, vandalisms. You wake up, your house got vandalized or something like that. There's no suspects, no camera, but we want to get accurate stat reporting for the neighborhood so that I can drive resources out here and do what I need to do. And you can report that online. You don't have to wait for an officer to call you or to show up, which can sometimes take a long time depending on how busy you are. But again, SLC mobile app is an application on your phone. You don't use that for crimes. Online reporting can be done through our website. So I know it is kind of confusing, but yeah. So I'm going to cover that a couple times over the next few meetings just to kind of remind everybody. But then the new news coming up. We opened up a new crime dashboard for you all to see what's going on in the city. So we used to have crime stats, and I used to report on them if you guys remember, I report on like all the part 1 and part 2 crimes and all that stuff. So we're doing things a little bit different now. We're kind of using a comp stat model type thing, and you won't really be able to see this super great, but that's what it looks like right there. And so it covers violent and property crimes right now. They're going to expand it to be more as we just rolled this out. I think it was like 3 days ago. So to the public. So right now you can go on our website. You can click on the crime dashboard through the link, and you can click on either your specific community area, which would be Sugar House, or you can click on your district, which is the same thing. It's District 7, which is also Sugar House. Or you can do citywide, and you can look at the different statistics on what's going on. So what I like to report on, we kind of look at like the major crimes going on that we see like a bunch of, because that's really what we're mostly concerned with. And so like for the Sugar House area, for the month of January, we always report on a month lag so that we have all the accurate stats that we need. So for January 2024, we saw 92 total crimes reported between property and violent crimes. Of those 92, 84 were property. So we see a lot of property crimes up here, right? Let's see, 42 were larceny, theft of any kind, and then 28 were specific to vehicle burglaries, vehicles getting broken into. A lot of that's because we have some major shopping areas out here is what contributes to that a lot. So when you're going shopping, just do your best, like put things in your trunk, put things in the back of the car where people can't see them, try and hide things away. Try not to leave anything in your car overnight that's of value if you can help it. And if you have an option to like take your car and put it in the in the garage or something like that, please do that. If you don't, I suggest turning your lights on all night. And I even suggest is going as far as to not just having like the motion lights, but having lights on all the time. Again, it just works as a deterrent. Last year I went to a training on crime prevention through environmental design. It's called CEPTED. Some of you might be familiar with that. But what I learned was one of the best ways to help prevent just the minor crimes. We're not talking like getting mugged or things like that, but just the minor theft crimes is lighting. So, and it's cheap. Lighting is cheap. So turn your lights on at night. Keep them on all the time. I have like those fancy little bulbs that you can like program, so I don't even have to worry about it. They just turn on and turn off on their own. So I suggest strongly doing that. And even my own neighborhood, like half my neighbors don't do it. And I'm just like, well, that's good because they're going to leave my house alone and go to yours. So we don't want that, but I'd rather not get my stuff broken into personally. But anyway, so is there any questions for me on any of that?
So in the crime reporting, do you distinguish between crimes like commercial properties versus residential properties?
Yeah, that's a good question. We do to a degree. So right now, what they've expanded are burglary residential and burglary all other, which is essentially business. What we don't have it broken down to is necessarily like vehicle burglaries in a shopping center. I could go back and I could find it, but like for the website, we don't have it broken down that way because it'd be a lot of to have to sift through. So we try to make it as informative as possible and get as much information as possible without making it so complicated that you're not going to want to sift through all that. So, yes, ma'am. Yeah, go ahead.
Let me just warn people, if you have an anti-theft detection system on your vehicle, it's usually on the window, you're probably not going to get burglarized with your car thefts if they're worried about the alarms going off. However, if you don't have that on, one of my neighbors, they turned, this is on Westminster, 8900, 7:30 in the morning, turned on their vehicle to pre-warn it, and the car was stolen.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate common story, especially during this time of the year.
Is it worth it?
Yeah. And I appreciate you bringing that up. So one thing I do like to preach during these colder months is like when you do warm your vehicle up, if you don't have an auto start feature, well, number one, like Salt Lake City, it's technically illegal to leave your vehicle idling for more than 15 minutes. Is that 2 minutes? My bad. It used to be 15 when I first started. Do not quote me. I just enforce the law. I don't pretend to know it. So 2 minutes. My bad. Yeah. So 2 minutes. Be with your vehicle if you don't have an auto start feature, because it does happen, unfortunately, often where people's cars get taken all the time, and it only takes like like literally, I've had people turn around to walk into their house and their car is like driving away. So, so no, we're not trying to victim blame here or anything like that. It's an honest mistake, but just try and learn from others' mistakes and do your best not to do that. It's cold. We all warm up. We don't want to warm up our vehicles for 2 minutes. But yes, completely understand. Any other questions, comments, or concerns?
Oh yeah, for the app, concerning the app.
Yeah. So if you submit a concern regarding homelessness, that's like the title of the what you would submit. It goes to our HEART team, which is like the homeless
engagement and response team.
Homeless engagement and response team. Hannah's on. She knows. I should know. But yeah, the homeless engagement and response team. So then they start to coordinate, like with PD, myself, and with like VOA and a bunch of other teams, and we start to get resources out to people who are experiencing homelessness. So first, we'll try at the lowest level and just get them into either some kind of a house, like a resource center, and get them out of the area. If it's someone who's like just refusing to accept any kind of resources or anything like that, then we take these locations and we move them for cleanups, basically. And so we'll go through, we'll give them an opportunity to clean up and get the property that they need to get, and then we'll take the rest of it and throw it away if it's trash or whatever it is. So we coordinate that throughout the entire city. There's one team for the entire city. So it's like hundreds of camps that we go through, and we'll definitely prioritize them. So if there's something near a school, something like that, where you're like, this is not good, like, then if you submit that, it'll get prioritized over like one that might be on the trail or something like that.
And this is on the app, you do it, but it goes to this HEART team.
Correct. Yeah, that would go to the HEART team. And like for instance, if you did on the same app, if you did my stop sign is down, then that would go to city streets, I think. So yeah, that would go to like the streets division. So it just gets routed to like wherever. And thank you for reminding me. A caveat to this: you will, when you submit something on the app, it's going to say closed. That doesn't mean that it's taken care of. It means that it's gone to the correct city division. So just be aware of that. I don't know if it's still doing that, but it was doing that. People were getting really upset, which is understandable because you're like, hey, I submitted this, it says closed, and it's still a problem over here, So just understand that means it went to the HEART team, or it went to the streets team, or it went to wherever it needs to go. So great question. Thank you. Any others? Sweet. Getting off easy tonight. Thank you so much. I appreciate y'all.
George, you want to come on up? Your fire department's here.
Oh, sweet.
Mike, you want to do the treasury report while we wait for George to come on up? This will be quick. He's got it on a napkin. I'll be brief.
I ran out of scratch paper. I use a chamois. Okay. Just briefly, hey, good to see everybody, by the way, and everybody on Zoom. Hope you're tuning in. U.S. bank account, not much activity since we saw you last. $3,663.95 is our balance when I checked it today. We received a couple of generous donations over the last month, so thank you for the people who donated. I see some of them here. And the PayPal balance right now is sitting at $336.66. And just one other update, one thing we're working on is a donation for Electron up here. So when Detective Fallows is giving his report, he doesn't have to hold his computer and a microphone and all that. So I think it might be
It's
a nice,
here. It just got here. I got to put it together.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn.
Thanks to Lynn.
Thanks to Lynn.
For that generous in-kind donation. And that's all I got. Thank you.
I'm George Sumner. I asked Landon for a couple of minutes to introduce the fire department. I had three reasons for that. One is I want to shower them with praise and thanks. Another is that I want to make a point about what they do that I think there might be some misunderstanding in the community about. And lastly, I got a request to make of the community too. So first, praise and thanks. These men and women are highly trained, physically fit, and imbued with a spirit of service. They stand ready to respond at a moment's notice to any call for any emergency that might happen in our community. But emergency response isn't all that they do. They also serve as our surrogates to make sure that buildings in this community are safe for us to occupy. They do this by educating their elected officials and encouraging them to pass strict life safety, fire safety, and building codes. And then they enforce those codes during planning and design and construction to make sure that buildings are built safely, and during occupancy to make sure they stay safe. And that leads to the point I want to make, to allege that these people, as I heard in testimony at a recent public meeting, would accept a building that that was designed so that in the event of a fire, that everybody above the 6th floor is going to just die. That's not a substantive argument against that kind of a building. That's simply an indictment of these career professionals that are there protecting us. So what I'm asking, my request, is let's don't do that. There are lots of substantive reasons to oppose proposed changes to our community. Let's use them, but let's show these dedicated and talented public servants the respect and honor that they deserve. With that, I'll turn the mic over to our fire department.
Thank you, George.
My name is June. I'm from the Salt Lake City Fire Department here. And first to start off with, we have a message from our chief, Carl Lee. And February, as we all know, has Valentine's Day, but it's also American Heart Month. And for us, cardiac arrests are a big deal that we go on a lot of, and it helps a lot when we have a bystander CPR that's already been started. So for us, we are informing our community now that AHA, the American Heart Association, is offering online classes. If maybe you want to do it in your pajamas or stay at home and learn how to do it, you can go to the website at heart.org/en/nation of lifesavers, and they offer online classes at your convenience. But also, if you want to get on a more hands-on experience, the fire department actually offers a hands-on CPR classes on the 3rd Wednesday of the odd months. So next month in March will be the next one that's coming up. And you can sign up through our website at slcfire.com. And that way we all can be CPR certified and be able to help the people in our community in a much more meaningful manner. And February, Valentine's Day, Heart Association Month. Also, we have a third one, believe it or not. And our Emergency Management Division would like to inform that it is the National Canned Food Month. Now, do you guys have any like food reserves at home or like pantries and stuff like that? Maybe, maybe not, but maybe now you can learn to have some stockpile of food at home. As recently, Salt Lake City's been hit with some major disasters like earthquakes, floods, and thankfully it hasn't been too bad, but maybe sometimes you can get our power plants knocked out, or we might not have food or water or power in our buildings. And the advantage of having those canned foods, or not even just canned foods, you can have MREs or freeze-dried food that maybe you can heat up and put water in to be able to eat, is that they stay fresh a lot longer. Well, maybe not fresh, sorry about the wrong word choice. Edible a lot longer than a fresh fruit or vegetable will. And the fact that you can keep them in a dry, cool condition for several years at a time, anytime an emergency hits, you'll be able to provide for your family at least the nutritious value of food so that you guys can drink water and be able to eat and be able to survive in those times of emergency. And this area is also covered by Station 3, which is probably old news by now, but we have our Medic Engine 3, and we still currently are having the MRT 3 or Squad 3, which me and my partner are on. So you guys are covered by 2 apparatuses at all times in this area. And in the month of January, Medic Engine 3 ran 34 fire calls, 156 medical calls for 190 total. And MRT 3, we don't do fire calls, so we only do medicals, and we have done 71 calls just in this area. And Medic Engine 3 is probably in the upper half of how busy the city is, so we are still running around quite a lot in your area, and we have thankfully have the training and the care necessary to be able to provide for the people here in Sugar House. And do you guys have any maybe any further questions for us? We're more than happy to answer. Yes.
Is there that you still provide slip and fall assistance by calling the fire department if somebody has fallen, can't get up, like my neighbor, this was like 5 years ago, where it was just a matter of getting her back to bed?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Anytime you have a fall and you're not able to get up, many people call 911 for that, and we're always there to help you guys up. And we even provide the additional service of, getting you to the chair or getting you to the bed. So we got you covered in that aspect. Any other questions for fire department? Perfect. I think that's a good sign. But I just want to thank you guys so much for having us here today.
Want to introduce your crew?
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. We have Captain Hoffman right there, the captain at Station 3. I said my name already, and paramedic Lamar over there on Medic Engine 3. That's MP Hendricks with me on the squad, and we have paramedic Seeley over there as the other paramedic. And
All right, good. Let's do Sarah Young. You ready? So this is District 7 City Councilwoman Sarah Young. We're just going to talk a little bit about Harbor Bay. Right?
I just have a few updates. Before I get to those, thank you, George, for honoring our firefighters of Salt Lake. I just have to say that they are more than just fighting our fires and answering medical calls. They are truly family members within the community. And I am so grateful that we have the amazing staff and that we have that has the resources they do to be able to keep our community safe. So thank you again. And George, thank you for calling that out. I appreciate the clarification. Let me go through a couple of quick city council updates, and then we'll get to the harbor. A couple of action items coming out of city council. One are the city council, we've been considering some landscape amendments. This comes in response to a lot of requests from the community to be able to make sure that our code is being thoughtful about water conservation, especially as we look at some of the needs of the Great Salt Lake. So as a part of that, we are looking at some new guidelines. The number one question that we've gotten about those guidelines is, does that mean I have to tear up my yard and my park strip and make all of these changes? So I'm here to clarify, no, you do not. This would be for future redevelopment, and that those future redevelopments have more opportunities to include natural grasses to be able to meet that city code, as well as including tree canopy towards what's considered the landscape area. So just a quick clarification, no one's asking you to tear up your yard. And instead, this is about future-facing water conservation for the Great Salt Lake, which I know is important to a lot of members of our community. Second of all, Sunnyside Park. So there has been some conversations at council, including last night, related to a need that the University of Utah has related to their existing field that they have as part of the property that abuts Sunnyside Park. As many of you know, the University of Utah baseball team has used that as a practice field, and then they've done their professional games down at the ballpark where the Bees formerly played at Smith's. As we know, that ballpark is not slated to be there forever, and so the University of Utah is looking at being able to reconstruct the existing land that they have on abutting Sunnyside Park to be able to have a stadium that would meet the collegiate standards for gameplay. One of the concerns is that they would, in order to make that property work, they would need to construct a wall of about 35 feet to be able to prevent the baseballs as per the regulations. The solution around that is that the city is looking at giving a land lease that would then give resources back to help improve Sunnyside Park to be able to give them more space for the development of that field without needing to construct that huge wall, which would, be concerning in terms of an eyesore related to that. So you will see that is being talked about in the media. And like I said, that was at the recent council meeting. So just keeping you updated on that. If you want more information, there are multiple websites. I've shared those with Judy so that they can be a part of the newsletter, both from University of Utah baseball as well as the park. Next up, so council has approved the conditional funds for the temporary micro shelter in the community. I'm bringing this one up because this is a request that I have for the community related to action. So our city has stepped up in terms of providing resources to support the individuals who are experiencing homelessness. One of those solutions has been the temporary housing that has been approved for land in the downtown area, where we were able to stand up some temporary shelters. If you've had a chance to see them, for many folks, they look a little bit like shipping containers, but this provides a much needed resource that the community needs for those who don't feel like safe in the shelters related to if they have an animal with them, and they're looking for a solution that is not camping on private property, but instead having an opportunity. That solution for the winter shelter is supposed to transition into a larger state solution. Right now, the state legislature is considering their budget related to being able to support those needs. City council, the mayor's office, myself, we are asking for your help in reaching out to legislators to encourage them to consider resources related to helping to address the needs of our community experiencing homelessness. That is not just related to the shelters, that is also related to the factors that I know Bernie's here and can talk about in terms of our preventative and social supports as well. We have a comprehensive request that was happened in partnership with the governor's office. That request has not gained traction. So we're asking for your help in terms of being able to really put the pressure and the messaging out there that this is something our community values and we want to see more support. Additionally, we are, let's go to Harbor Bay because it's everyone's favorite. So as far as Harbor Bay goes, I want to provide just a clarification that came up in the Highland High School meeting in some of the after conversations, but I think it's important for the whole community to have this knowledge. So we talked about, and anyone who's emailed my office, we send you back information saying here are all the different ways you can be involved and give comments. One of the things that we've shared is that there's actually two in the Sugar House Business District, basically a sustainability zone. That new zone is what has additional height allowances that are significantly different than what is currently there. Now, the piece that we've had confusion about is that zone, if approved, is not just specific to this single property. It would be a zone that other properties could ask for a rezoning request to. So I just want to be clear about why there's those two proposals, and that speaking specific to the individual building design is great, but that is half of what is being proposed. And I want to make sure that you have that opportunity to give input to both pieces, because I'll be honest, the rezone text amendment has bigger implications than that single property, and I don't want that to be missed as an opportunity for feedback by this community. So yes, as far as the public comments go, it is my duty and job to remind you that aside from emailing your council members, please make sure that you are using the Sugar House Community Council feedback website. Because Judy, do you know how many comments we have as of today?
Well, I have 187 or 287, probably 20 of those for other projects.
Okay, so we have over 250. I can tell you that having that collectively coming from the community council speaks with a volume that is important to continue to add to. So the other piece that we encourage anyone who reaches out to my office is, I appreciate your comments, get your neighbors involved. Make sure they know about these opportunities to give feedback so that we are including them in the community conversation moving forward. I have one last piece and then I can answer any questions. And this is specific to an experience I had with one of our citizens who's here today. So we had an individual resident who reached out to me all the way back in September and had a concern about some different aspects of the 2100 South design. In working with that particular citizen, we were able to find kind of their top priority, which was a specific left-hand turn that was going to be eliminated in the design. That was something that would have really impacted this particular family and their ability for their kids to get to school. So we enlisted the help of Skylar Westerdahl, who's here in the second row, to help us go out and do door knocking. So we did, as a group. We went and knocked doors for 3 streets within the square blocks that would have been impacted. And we had the opportunity then to bring that information to City Council, and we got the left-hand turn restored. Now, takeaways from this. Number 1, we are powerful together as a community. It doesn't mean we always agree, but I appreciate the opportunities to say, look, we have different opinions, but it's important to me that we get the word out and we get more people involved. That is true of not just this left-hand turn, not just the Wells Fargo building. It is true of every action we are taking as a community, and I appreciate your help in that engagement. The second thing I'll say is that we definitely had an opportunity related to giving public input on the 2100 South project for a while. And right now, our new opportunity is for 1300. And so I just want to make sure that as your council member, I'm going to be there for you if there is a left-hand turn that we need to address, and even if it's in the last minute. But what I would love to do is to know that those comments go to the community engagement teams and transportations departments as early as possible, because that's what allows our city to do the amazing things that they do in putting together plans so that you don't have to come out door knocking with me to get neighbors to sign on for something in the last minute. So I appreciate that. I'm happy to answer any questions that I can. I know there's a lot of questions about the property, and that has not been scheduled for council action or on the planning commission's agenda at this time, but as soon as it is, we'll be sure to let you know. Questions?
The hype about the Oakland A's possibly coming to Salt Lake City. Do you know anything about that? Or is it just hype?
I know the rumors. So we haven't had any of those discussions at City Council. It's been pretty broadly publicized in the media that the Oakland A's did come out and visit the Millers in terms of seeing what opportunities could exist. Their stadium in Vegas is not going to be done in time at which they're expecting to need to leave Oakland. And so there could be a possibility for them to come and take over the new stadium in Daybreak, which would mean we would need to find an extended home for the Bees because that was meant to be their stadium. So I think those are all moving parts. But as we get more information, I'll be sure to bring it here.
Do you mind just adjusting the volume? It's really getting a lot of
And
feedback.
normally you can't hear me on this microphone, but today I'm too loud, so I apologize.
You can turn it down a little.
Put it down here or something.
So I thought the deadline to comment on the Wells Fargo was yesterday. Is that correct?
So that is true for the Planning Commission comment period.
Actually.
However,
The planner, Amanda, told me the other day that she's working with them. They're making some changes based on the wonderful comments that we gave to them.
You got to turn it up so we can hear it online too.
Gotta stand in the screen.
Sorry.
yeah.
Okay. So what she said was, she's working with them. There's no hard deadline of Tuesday, yesterday. So my personal deadline, because I'm tired of this, is Friday. I'm going to get everything in. But you can still send comments because I will continue to collect the comments. And when we have a date, she'll get the comments right away. So keep after it.
But Judy, if they keep changing the plans, then that may affect our comments.
Exactly. And so we might have another kind of meeting or something. We don't know. My guess is they're going to try to make it shorter and they're going to pretend to add some affordable housing. My goal on that is it can't be any higher than 105 and it has to be 50% affordable.
Yeah.
Otherwise, get out of here.
All right. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so to your point, Sarah and Judy, so if you can help us, because at 11:58 last night, I pushed send, because I was told that the comments were due in the email that Landon sent the day before, or that morning, and then it said you can only do 500 words, not at the beginning of the comments, but at the end. So then I copied everything and then sent emails to everybody. So there's a lot of confusion. We said there are two issues. There is that proposal for the amendment to create a new sustainability zone, which would have allowed multiple buildings at whatever height we're now discussing, who knows? And it's a moving target. And now there is the building itself. So what are the deadlines for each of these? Are there two
We have no clue.
Oh, good.
So I told you, I will just keep sending in the comments as we get them. I'm sending in the comments that are emailed to me along with the ones that come through the database. So I'm sending in both sets. Sarah's getting them too. She's sending them to me. Amanda's getting them and she's sending them to me. So we're doing our best.
And I appreciate that. Judy.
Yeah.
Really, I do.
Judy, do you need two comments and one for the one and one for the other? If we send them in, we can channel them to the appropriate.
Yeah, they're going to go to me and I'm going to send them to the Planning Commission. They're going to do a staff report. I'll post it on the website so you can see all the comments. If you could read through that many, I mean, it's 33 pages for the 172 that I've already downloaded. So we got another 100 coming here. And then once the Planning Commission is done, they write a staff report and transmit it to the City Council, who then writes a staff report. So keep your eyes open. That's all I can say.
Thank you. Really quick, I'll just add to that. There will also be a traditional public comment period that occurs during an open and public meeting. with city council. We'll be sure that that date not only goes out through the community council channels, through all of the city council channels, but we'll be calling on you to help us share that as well. So if you feel like I've given my comment, that's great. If you're like, this is important to me and I want to keep commenting, keep commenting. There is no like, you've given your one and you're out of tickets. So, yes.
This is back to the A's. I sent a 3-page letter to the mayor, and I know the Miller family is amongst the most powerful in the state, but I said, you, legislative and executive, should play hardball with the Millers and say, if you want our support for a stadium on our temple, you should have the A's play in Salt Lake, not David. So my experience with this in DC is that cities do have more leverage than they're typically willing to execute because they mostly hear from the well-connected. But we do, I could care less about baseball, but I went to the University of Michigan, people get implied stupid. But the thing is that if the city wants to maximize the benefit from that development and leveraging other development in that district, we all care about the west side. We need to say, look, Millers, if you want this, we want this. And I'm just throwing that out there, just like I was the first person to say, we need to leverage the Olympics to get other infrastructure improvement. But I'm just throwing that out there. I should have CC'd you on the letter.
No worries. I will say that I know for a fact that both Mayor Mendenhall, the staff who work on these proposals, as well as our city council, both lobbyists as well as legislative leads, they are going to advocate for the city until like the last minute of the deal being signed. So I feel very confident in our administration and their negotiating related to that.
As a follow-up to that, has a decision been made on our beautiful Smith's ballpark, which is city property, which to me should be kept here, and following that on to the sunny side, why the heck should we as citizens be giving away land or doing favors for the well-endowed University of Utah if they want to turn around and use that baseball, that area? Fine, then go ahead and do what you need to do, or go down to the city, the Smith's ballpark, and keep that for them and have all their games down there.
Yes. So I'll answer sort of related to both of those. So let me at least start with the question about Smith's Ballpark. So there has been a lot of community engagement on what does it look like to redevelop that area. The redevelopment is specific to resources which have not been appropriated, which is why the city has flexibility to say if we needed to extend an opportunity for the Bees to be able to continue to play at Smith's, they could. It's not something where that baseball field was planned to be torn down like next year. So there are development plans and there are opportunities for additional community engagement related to those plans that continue that I'm happy to share more broadly with this community. I know there's been a huge push in District 5 to be able to make sure those residents have impact. As it relates to Sunnyside, let me be clear. The city is not looking at selling anyone anything. It would be a land lease specific to this like triangular piece of property that basically allows them to not have to build the wall, but to have the distance so that if someone was to hit a home run, which we hope for our University of Utah baseball team, that it wouldn't be a danger to residents who are using the park. And so what we're looking at is kind of then a value add swap so that their lease of that land would actually generate, it's projected at $4.2 million from the university to invest in new softball fields specific to Sunnyside. So those resources would not go just anywhere. They would go specific to that park to helping address some of the needs there. So I know that's not this is a final firm answer on what's happening at every property, but hopefully those additional details help to demonstrate we're in a process. And as part of that process, we're not looking to give anything away for free. Taxpayer dollars mean a lot to us, myself and the city and others, and we want to make sure we're getting the best bang for our buck, while also, if there's an opportunity to take a small piece of that park and get 4.2 million in improvements, that could be a value add to the neighbors.
We'll do one more and then we have to move on.
So, unlike our neighbor over here who doesn't care about baseball, I sort of care about it, but I care even more about softball. And I do play softball at Sunnyside. And I'm wondering, first of all, if this really falls under the purview of the city when all the activities up there are run by the county. So you probably know the answer to that. Maybe it's just the property that the city owns, okay? But if you've ever been to Murray Park, there's a baseball field down there, and so that the balls don't go into the swimming pool, they have a gigantic net, which would be much less obtrusive than a 35-foot wall, and it could be removable. Maybe it's a short-term solution, but it would be something to consider. And I played on that park as well, and it works just great. Balls don't go into the swimming pool.
Yeah. So I am not going to tell you that I have the answer about the wall versus the net, but what I can tell you is that the websites established by both the city and the university, the number one thing on those websites is frequently asked questions. So I'm happy to share those with you. And again, we can get those out through the newsletter so that all of our residents have an opportunity to see what has been considered in terms of design and why they've landed on this being the better solution as determined by the parties that have been involved. Again, not to say that they've considered the net, but we can at least look at that and see what has been considered and then move forward with recommendations from there.
Just to clarify, Sunnyside is a city park.
Right.
Steiner is run by the county.
Tom, come on up. All right, the next presenter is for selfish reasons because I live so close. These guys own the 21s right across the street, so they're going to preview what's coming in.
Did you want to say hi to Miss Young?
Yeah.
This is a trip back in time because Miss Young taught me in 7th grade. I'm Sarah.
That was supposed to be a good thing. I hope I didn't date.
She's very young. I am too.
Hey, thank you for taking the time. We got Mr. Strasser here. My name's Tom Henroyd, everyone. I'm a longtime Salt Lake City resident. I went to Highland High School, Hillside, Highland Park Elementary. I've been here for a long time and driven by this project many, many, many times before it is what it's turning into right now. We've been in front of you before multiple times. So some of you are familiar, Ms. Colliker, pardon?
Hold the microphone up. So
a little closer. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. Been in front of many of you, Landon Clark, Ms. Judy. Those of you, we're really excited to see this thing taking shape and becoming what it is. We've done our best. I hope you know we've done our best on all kinds of fronts. We've done our best to have it be a safe project, number one. We thank you for your patience in the neighborhood. I hope you know that it was the number one priority throughout the entirety of this project, and it's not over yet, that it be safe for children walking to Billboard. That has been number one. And I hope that you know that, and I hope that you've noticed, because it's messy, the process of construction. We thank you very much for your patience. Landon called and said they would love an update. And, Sarah, please step in if I leave anything out, if there's something important. First of all, we do think it's close enough that we feel like we can say we're going to be moving residents in likely in April. So that's wonderful. We should have our certificate of occupancy in April and start moving residents in. Just for note, again, it's 108 residential units, large underground parking structure that's servicing all of them, 20,000 square feet of retail, and you're seeing it. We're close enough. This is a little dangerous. I want to point that out. Most of these tenants have signed their lease and it's done and finished. There are a couple who have not. We have a very good problem though. I'm going to date myself even if I didn't date Miss Young. We have a Joe Montana / Steve Young kind of problem. We've got more quality tenants that are interested in space than we have space. So that's what's going on, and we're just working with it. We hope you know that we've always had this specific community's residents in mind and what they want for businesses in the area. So I'm just going to run through it really quickly, going from, this is a little backwards because that's west and that's east, but we'll start at the east. So Sarah's going to point. Great Harvest Bread Company. I'm sensitive to that because I know many of you know the Great Harvest was just right here, and they moved out and it didn't work out. This is different, and it's dramatically different. Reason being is it's a different franchisee. This is the Holiday franchisee. We are the developers of the Holiday project you may be familiar with Harmon's, Tony Caputo's, both sides of that street. That's our project, and Great Harvest is in that project, and we know them very well. They are wonderful. They're actually the #1 Great Harvest franchisee in the country. This Great Harvest that was here, they didn't even bake goods. They warmed the goods, and it was a satellite store where they only brought the bread. They never baked anything. They will have a full bakery. It'll be the full meal deal. It'll be an awesome project for them. Next door to them from Ogden, some of you may be familiar. Sorry about the resolution. Bowtie Creamery. Awesome ice cream place. Fun, rotating flavors. Super owner. Great guy. Super fun. Dress Boutique. Other clothing and other things like that. Courtney Boutique. It's going to be fantastic. Also, perfect for the ladies. Wick Lab. I believe it was featured, Sarah. Am I right if I say it was actually featured on Real Housewives of Salt Lake City? So we've got notoriety going for us too. It's a candle making boutique. It's kind of a date night. You go pick your candle, your scent, your wick, your container. Fun thing, fun people. Next door to them, we've got the beauty salon, manicures and pedicures. These guys are awesome. They've got incredible ratings. We've tested it. Hope you guys know we do. We test all these people. We vet them good. We definitely don't want any turnover, and we want them to be the best. Next door to them is Heirloom Restaurant Group. Some of you may be familiar with them. They have a bunch of restaurants in Utah County. Black Sheep, Station 22, Pizzeria 712. They're going to run a restaurant right here on that corner, utilizing that awesome patio on the east side. They're fantastic people. It's going to be awesome. Next door to them, Specialty Soda. You may be familiar with Specialty Soda and Treats. We think that's going to be a fantastic place for the kids to come hang out. Hopefully they walk by and patronize that constantly. Next door to them, Oakley Roasting Company. This is an awesome group that started a new concept. They have a couple of stores in process right now. This is coffee and donuts. So it's a hangout. It's going to be, one of the things that was mentioned in our holiday project that people like a whole heck of a lot. You guys may have been to 3 Cups. Really fun. Everyone loves it. Wonderful hangout spot. We knew we needed something similar. We did talk to 3 Cups. They didn't want to make the jump, but Oakley Roasting Company will fit the bill. They're fantastic people. It's going to be super fun. P-Volve. This is out-of-state women's fitness coming to Utah, sponsored by, our favorite Friends star, Jennifer Aniston. So we're just waiting to meet her. Hopefully that comes soon. You are too?
Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna see what we can do about the ribbon cutting and see if she can be there for that. I mean, we've been trying for a while.
Remember the name.
Okay, we'll do. And then on the corner, again, this is another Southern California concept: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I should mention both of these restaurants. The goal, I can't speak for them. They've got to run their own restaurant. We do have additional restaurants. Some of these deals, like I mentioned, they're not final. They're really close. We have a good problem here. We've got more people than we've got space. There's a little bit of competition, and that's fine. Alcohol, full liquor license, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, potentially both of these restaurants, and very walkable, catering to the community, and that's what was wanted. We heard all of you throughout the process loud and clear that that's what the neighborhood wants. Please make it walkable, friendly to the neighborhood, friendly to the children. We're sensitive to parking. Absolutely. We always will be. We will be managing the property as well. That's what we do. We develop, construct, and we will manage the property long term. So we have to deal with whatever problems we create. We plan on doing it. So happy to answer any questions. Sarah's here to answer any questions. But again, thank you so much for your patience. We know construction's a pain. It's messy. It's caused all kinds of issues. And we thank you for your patience. Yes, sir.
I was impressed by your presentation, but I will say the holiday buildings look 10 times better than the buildings here. They're not very well.
I will do my best not to be offended. I will tell you this, and we do have a council person here. We had help in Holiday. We had help from Holiday City. That was an RDA project. I called Salt Lake City back in time to see if we could somehow put this in an RDA district and get help, but Salt Lake has bigger fish to fry. Pardon? Go ahead, ma'am.
Yeah, like Hunger Bay Ventures. Yeah, I digress. Could you tell me where the air, in terms of the reversal, so that right there is 2100 and 2100. So right there at the corner that you're pointing, what building is that was on that wall, the previous slide?
So this will be Eat Chow, and Great Harvest will be the other end. Yep.
And is that a driveway where there was a break
Do you
into
see?
the parking on that? Or is that a street?
Yep. Can we go back to the last slide? Potentially. Oh.
Yeah,
Perfect.
there, that hole. Yeah.
So the building actually spans on the second level with units over the top here. So this is a drive aisle approach. So there's 3 entrances to the site, here, and just north of that patio area. So it's a driveway, but it also has units above it. So it's kind of a nice bridge architectural feature.
Is all the parking underground?
Not all of it.
Parking for residents is underground and patrons of the retail is on grade.
Who can I call when they start parking in my parking lot?
I'll get you his contact information.
All
You
right.
probably shouldn't do it while we're online.
Okay, I'll send
This gentleman right here in the green.
I'm Irish Catholic, so anytime somebody says there's a bar close to me, I get excited. But I'm interested how you got liquor license so close to the school and to.
We don't have them yet, and it's the responsibility of the restaurants, but we are further than the minimum required amount of fee.
Tom, maybe it's worth pausing and going back to the parking comment too. So we're a little bit better parked here on surface than we are at Holiday. So it's probably worth checking out Holiday Village like at noon, at 5 o'clock, at those like really tense times when we're most busy. You can still find a parking spot on our site.
And they have an orange theory over there.
Yeah, so I think the good news is we'll have parking all along this side of the street, but it's double fronted retail. So there's also parking along this side. I apologize, I'm not tall enough. So our tenants will be able to enter their site from both the north and the south with parking on both sides. And then there's also parking just across from this. So there's going to be basically 3 rows of parking that tenants can park in. And then again, the underground parking for our tenants who live on site.
So the employees of the
This
building.
gentleman.
What's the number, so 3-part question, number of parking stalls up there? Because that, of course, is employees who park up there too. And then, did you reach the Jeds or Blue Plate or any of those parking establishments?
We did. And I would tell you, all of them, fantastic folks. And we talked to them throughout the process of both contemplating the project and during construction even. And they decided they didn't want to come back.
And then we're gonna hear from Bill. I think he was last year, 2 or 3 months ago. And he said the barricades were close to being removed and November 21st being opened back up. Was there a hang up why that hasn't been done yet, or?
Just safety, just making sure kids that are walking along the frontage. I mean, I don't want to, we've worked with the city, we've worked with the principal of Dilworth to try to figure out what do we think is the best path. We won't go into it, but it's just to keep it safe. That's the whole reason why
So
the
is there a
barricades are there.
timeline when the road will be back open fully?
Yeah, when the project is done, which I'm saying is looking like April.
Okay, awesome. Okay, one more. You've asked a lot.
So how deep did you go below grade for the construction, and did you run into any water? Because I'm having water issues on 900 East. That seems to be the city.
I love these questions because I mean, nobody cares about this stuff. And it's stuff that, it's issues and stuff. We went down about 18 feet, but no, groundwater is 30. 18 feet down. The bottom level, the finished floor elevation of the parking structure is about 18 feet below grade. And water was at 30.
And how many parking stalls do you have for the residents?
112 underground parking stalls.
A whole car in a bit. Oh my God.
We hear this one a lot. Okay, thank you. I'm pumped about the bar. Come on up, guys. We're just gonna get a quick chamber update.
Hello, everybody. Hi. It's Brandon and Erica, your favorite Sugar House Chamber people. In case you didn't know, the Sugar House Chamber is an all-volunteer nonprofit organization. You might think that we're paid for this, but we're really not. That's all we came to say. Just kidding.
Can you tell it's been a long week? I know, right? It has been. So, other than that reminder, we also wanted to let everybody know we do have a social coming up this month. It's at a new restaurant in Highland Park called Violet, and that is on the 21st from 6 to 8. And we would love to see all of you there because this is a brand new restaurant who needs people to come out, give them that kind of support that only Sugar House can give a small business. They're counting on it, so let's go in there and flood them with some Sugar House goodwill, welcome them to the neighborhood. Additionally, we'll have another event.
Where are they?
They are on Stratford Avenue in Highland Park, but I don't have the.
About
15.
It's the old Stratford
The old
proper.
Stratford proper and
Stratford proper?
the old,
We don't.
And also, if you ever do lose that information, the homepage of our website will always have our next event and meeting right there on the homepage. We've added a calendar feature just this week, so that'll additionally be a tab at the top where you can go and look at a calendar of events. But we try to feature that right on the homepage as well. Following that, the next month, we'll have an event at Quarters, which if you are not familiar with Quarters, this is an adult arcade. So leave the kids at home, bring your quarters, let's play games.
we're bringing it to have a fake ID.
Please come, okay. That is on the 15th? 13th of March, also 6 to 8. Come on out and let's support Quarters. They've been open for a while, but that's been one that a lot of people haven't realized that they're there. And they run a really popular location downtown. And again, let's give them that Sugar House support like only y'all know how to do. All right, that is all we've got. Yes.
Strange question, why are the lights still on the Santa Shack?
I wouldn't be able to answer that. Lori can tell you.
They're not on anymore. We took them down, but the person that helps me do that is volunteer. And with snow and rain, it's just very hard to do. And he's my age, and he's climbing the ladder, and he probably shouldn't be.
Well, in which case we need to give him a hand.
He's not here, but yeah.
I don't have anything to do with the Santa Shack. I'm sorry. All right, you all. Thank you.
These guys are just volunteers that work their asses off. So come on up, Bill. Come on up, Billy. This is Bill Knowles, our ambassador for Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
You all know him.
Maybe not everybody.
Okay, I know we've got some important information coming up here on road construction, your favorite subject. So I'll give you a quick update on some of the projects, private projects that have been going on. And one of the quickest parts to get through this is a lot of them are on hold right now. Due to the financial situation with interest rates and stuff, we've got like the Snellgrove property, the Midas property, the Elm Street. A lot of those are just kind of waiting things out right now, both from the financial standpoint and from absorption rates and all kinds of technical stuff these guys have to figure out. Good news is for you, they're going to wait for a little bit. The ones that are currently moving along, and I had to grab Mr. Henry, his guys up here finally made a deadline. First one ever, I think. But they actually made a deadline, and by January 31st, they did have all the barricades pushed back. Unfortunately, the guys down the street here decided they wanted to put some more up there until our good friend Lynn here, after actually Judy and about 14 other people let me know. And then I drove over here Friday afternoon and went, what the hell? Just got this thing cleaned up and they put barricades back up the street. We got them cleaned off, and thanks to Lynn and his perseverance in tracking it down and finding the perpetrator. So we got that street back open, and we're all happy to see that. And someday that project will be open, I'm sure. But a couple of quick updates. Alta Terra, that is the one down there by the liquor store. You probably, most of you know it by name by now. But new folks have taken that over, and the contractor, I'm sure you've read a lot about it. That's all gone, but they finally got a new crew in there, and a new crew. It's fully staffed now. They had trouble getting people back in there for a few weeks, but it is now in full operation. Here again, Lynn and Scott, a few folks down at Transportation and Engineering have been climbing on those new guys to get the place back in shape. I don't know, back in shape. It was never really in shape, but it is now in better shape. And the walkway is now ADA approved. It is now in a position, they got one last, I think, thing to do to cover part of it. But it has been put back in shape. We have one-way traffic through there, westbound, pretty consistently now. And there's still, now, I don't know if Eric is in the audience. I don't know you by sight. Yep, there you are. Thanks for the call. We're currently working on a parking situation there with the Girls Club, Boys Club. He acknowledges that not only has he got a problem now, but when they start putting the water line in, which starts in about 2 weeks, it's going to take that right side or that west side of the road over where the parking currently is, and they'll have a worse problem. So we're working out some parking accommodations to free up the future parking in front of Fairmont Park. And thank you for that heads up on that. One of the other solutions we talked about is not going to work out, and that's the building to the north of them there. But anyway, we are working on a few items that are moving targets right now with that project. But by and large, it's moving a lot better than it was. It's actually starting to get framed now, which was a huge milestone. We haven't seen anything like that happening in over a year. So it is moving ahead full steam right now. And God willing, it'll only be maybe a year behind schedule. And the next quick one I wanted to mention, well, Sugar Alley is, you've all seen that. It is really rolling and it is moving along. It's still on the pace to be done by the end of this year. And we've also made already accommodations. Somebody asked us that question before about the sidewalk and the street in front of that project. We met with them soon, not too long after that fire, and discussed all those situations as to how that was going to work in conjunction with the Highland project being done. So you guys should know that will all be put in shape, and all the logistics of that have been figured out. So when that project is done, all of that will look as good as the rest of Highland Drive. Izzy's project down the street here, not as much of an impact as a lot of these up here further east, but a little aggravating to some who travel down that area, and project or the traffic chokes off there. Westbound lanes are now both open. That side on the north is open for business and occupancy. The one across the street on the south side will be open within about 30 days, and you'll have the eastbound lanes going too. So we'll have traffic lanes coming all over the place for a little while. Until Lynn and Leah get up here and talk about it. Yeah, because we all know what's coming up 21st South. That is about what I got here. And I think, as I said, the rest of these projects are going to wait to see what's going to happen with money. Yes, ma'am.
What about the S-Line? I just got an email that there's going to be starting that going across Highland.
Well, maybe Lynn's going to give you an update on that, but the answer is yes. And I'll just quickly say it's not going to be too big of a problem. Most of it's going to be behind the scenes.
Just when we got Highland back. they grab it away.
No, we're gonna keep your island. We don't get the cross island, unfortunately.
Hi, I'm Leah Jaramillo, Lynn Jacobs, Salt Lake City. I'm the communications manager for Sugar House Projects. I think it's maybe the easiest way to say that. You've seen this map before. I'll leave it again at the door. This is a map that shows all the projects that are in Sugar House, road city projects, and the sewer project, and the various assorted contact information for each project is at the bottom. I'm just going to give you a high-level update, and then maybe Lynn, you can talk about the S-line.
Sure.
Okay, so 21st South sewer work is happening here and down between 11th and 12th East through maybe 2 more weeks. They will pull off of 21st South on the west end and move to Douglas Street right in front of Cafe Rio to do some storm drain work. They will be out of that area west of 13th in March. And then they will continue working on the east side here through the summer to complete all of that sewer work. As we've talked about before, I think they're using a pipe bursting method, which has been effective but very slow because we have extremely rocky conditions here, right, on the fault line. So they're moving, but it's slow. If you want to see what pipe bursting is, we just pushed a little video out on the Salt Lake City Public Utilities social media feed, so you can see how they use an auger to push through the old pipe and pull a new pipe behind it. It's kind of interesting if you like technical stuff like me.
What's the website again?
It's on this social, it's at SLCDPU. So it's on social media, on Instagram or Twitter, I think. This project website is a kind of a long one, so I'll encourage you to take one of these instead. Highland Drive, there is a little bit of work remaining on the south side of 21st South in front of Sugar Alley and at the intersection of 21st South and Highland Drive. So Sunday night, the 18th at 8 p.m., they will close the intersection until 5 a.m. Monday morning to get in and raise all of the utilities that are existing in the intersection. This will be the last major impact to that intersection. Oh, excuse me.
With the signal.
Signal pulls. Forgot about the signal pulls. So
But it'll probably be similar. We'll see how this goes.
we're trying to do it at night on a Sunday, which seems to be the quietest time in Sugar House. It will be a full closure all 4 directions. So there'll be detours up. So if you're going through, maybe use I-80 or 17th South instead of trying to go through on 21st just that night, Sunday night. And then,
Mark Simpson.
sorry?
They can do Sugarmont Simpson.
You can do Sugarmont to Simpson, but
for those that bother to travel the back streets instead of always being on the main drag.
It's true. I guess my thought was if you're going through, like not stopping in Sugar House, save that road space for the people who are stopping in Sugar House. If you're supporting local businesses, use Simpson, Sugarmont, use our local streets. But if you're just traveling, if you're up here and you're going to Costco, take the freeway, please. Like let's try to avoid that area if you don't need to be stopping, right? And then, let's see, last one, 11th East, north side by the post office, Sugar House Coffee, Sterling Furniture, those folks. We are testing the water line, so you may not have seen any work happening this week. The water line is full of water and chlorine. It's sanitizing. They call it like baking the line before they put it into service. So that is what's happening right now. They're making a whole bunch of water line connections for fire hydrants and all of those utilities that are underground. That work will be happening through June. And then they'll move out of the business district and north. So with that, please keep supporting your local businesses in Sugar House. They need you. You'll talk about 21st South.
Yeah, I can talk about 21st South. With the that full closure that we're going to do, I would be really interested in hearing how well it goes. So if any of you hear or see anything, or because like I said, we do have to do put the signal equipment in, and it would be really great if we did that at night as well, did kind of the same thing. But if it doesn't go well, I want to know so that we can come up with a different game plan for that.
What's the date?
For the closures, the 18th, and then for the signal equipment, it's not scheduled yet. It'll be later, and we'll let you know when that's coming through our normal channels and updates that we've been doing.
Is that the short pole they put?
No, we're putting it, it's a full brand new signal when we're done. So all of the existing signal equipment that's out there is really old. And we're replacing all of it with this project. It's just, takes time. Takes time to get all that done. Do you mind? I'll say a couple things and then we'll take some more questions. So 21st South reconstruction, we did have a bid opening last week. It went really well. We have not yet selected our contractor. We're still reviewing bids and in negotiations with the contractor that is the apparent low bid. And so that's coming along. So if they do get the project, it'll be pretty quick. They're anxious to go and get started. And as we get that information, we'll also be rolling that out. We'll be back next month to talk about it. We will be scheduling a meet the contractor night. So pay attention to all those dates that are going to be coming up. None of that is scheduled yet, but is coming. That's going to be a big project. They've got a lot to do. They want to start
in March or April.
They want to start. They're excited. The S-line question that came up earlier. So the UTA is moving forward with our S-line extension. The extension goes from the current terminus and it goes basically along Simpson Avenue up to Highland Drive, and that's where the new station will go. So it does not go across Highland Drive or into Highland Drive again. So we've coordinated that with UTA quite a bit. There will be work associated on Simpson Avenue with that. As part of that project, they also want to add additional double tracking between 500 East and 700 East to help us with keeping the train on time and doing what needs to be done. That's always been in the game plan for that project, and we're getting that done at the same time. They are releasing an RFP soon. They hire, it's called Progressive Design Build, where they hire a design firm and a contractor at the same time, and they work together to get it done a little bit faster. Their goal is to start construction this year. They'll start with that double tracking area is what they're saying, and then we'll see. That's what their current game plan is. Once they hire their designer and contractor, all bets are off. Things change.
They also have a great public engagement team, and I am confident they will come and talk to you when they get a design builder on board.
And have the right information to share. Yes.
Is extending it to Highland, is that something that they received input from the citizens? Like, is that beneficial?
It's actually in alignment with the this is technical, the Sugar House Phase 2 alternative analysis that was done many years ago. And so input was received at that time, and now we finally have funding. So we're finally building it. It's about 800 feet, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's like 3 football fields. It's actually quite a ways from where the existing end of line is. And more importantly for us, it makes it a lot more visible because now it will be on Highland Drive. People will be able to see it. And we hope that helps boost its ridership and get people using it. It also really sets the stage for any future expansion that might happen. And that's still very much up in the air. I mean, we have adopted plans, but there's a lot that changes out there all the time. So, but this little extension just gets us kind of, we call it putting the head on the body. We're getting that last little bit on. Yes, sir.
You're not going further north on 11th East?
Not with this project, and not that I'm aware of anytime soon. As you can imagine, we just rebuilt Highland Drive.
We really don't want them to get in there.
I hope we don't do that.
That's not the long-term plan, right?
Well, it is in the adopted city transit master plan. But like I said, I mean, we're not going to interrupt those businesses again for a long time. This has been very painful, and I don't expect to see it happen again anytime soon. So that's the only answer I got for you on that.
Will you let me make?
Yeah.
So I just want to comment that Lynn says we, but that's because Lynn is so invested in Sugar House projects and transportation that we means we all care about it. Lynn is not representing UTA, and the S-line correct extension is not a Salt Lake City project. So I just wanted to make that clarification because I say we, he says we mean all of the people that we're working together with, but it is in fact a separate UTA project.
Perfect. I always trust Leah to keep me out of trouble, so thank you. In the back.
I think someone should let UTA know that on both sides of the S line, and this goes back to when the weather was good, like the last time I rode it was like October, November, before it got really cold. There's graffiti on every fence, building, whatever is on either side of the track. It is just solid graffiti from Fairmont down to Central Point. I mean,
Thank you for that comment.
so much graffiti.
I will pass it on. It's actually would need to go to our facilities maintenance group. Maintenance of the Parley's Trail that runs there is actually from 5th East over to the current end of line is Salt Lake City's responsibility as part of that maintenance agreement that we have with UTA. And so I will pass that information on. You may have also noticed that we've had a lot of streetlights that have been out in that area. That was due to copper theft. We had people stealing copper out of the lights. Last I heard earlier this week, all of that has been repaired and those lights should be back on. So if any of you see lights that are out,
And those
want to
are,
hear about it.
like Detective Fallows mentioned earlier, those are great things to report on the app because the frequency with which those come in kind of indicate the level of severity. So that's a great thing to report on the app.
Yes. Yes.
Did the night lights come on yet?
That was a similar issue, and they did have contractors out on the 9 line last week working on it. So I don't know if they're on, but I know they were aware and working on it. Also, copper theft.
Copper theft is horrible.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah.
Sir.
I have a question. So on the, and maybe you don't know this, but I would hope you do, but where you have the traffic stuff on 8 South, or 8 East, I mean to say, where it narrows the lane.
The traffic calming on 8 East.
Yes, traffic.
Okay.
Who has the right of way?
Yield to the right.
Yield to the right. So as you come up on something, if you have a big island or something.
No, not the islands. Just where it gets narrow.
Where it gets really narrow.
So only one car can fit through?
Where only one car can fit through, the first vehicle to arrive typically will have the right of way in conditions like
Is that typical or is that fact?
that. That is state law.
Or just like the
That's ancient custom.
I'm sure I've gotten.
I heard someone say the biggest vehicle, I hope that's definitely not the law. But it could be understood.
They are just like.
How is that? How do you?
There are, we could talk about specific locations afterwards offline. I'm not involved in that project directly, so if you showed me, if you said, hey, this location, I could get back to you on it for sure.
Thanks.
I would say that they are like where we've pulled the curbs out too. They are wide enough for 2 vehicles to fit.
They're not.
They
Not always.
are.
Not all
always.
cases.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, Sam.
Okay, so I think it's still us rather than Mill Creek, but on that new pavement right near the intersection of 2700 South and Highland, there is on the west side, there is a huge hole. It is huge. So somebody needs to go out there because my car's small and I couldn't be swallowed up in it. It's like right where the bird place is. Right there.
Yeah, that would be great to report on the app as well, but this is the first I've heard of it. I don't know the answer to your
Yeah, well,
question.
I've had to divert and go around.
Yeah.
Potholes.
City staff were out there last night looking at it, and so I would expect it, like I said, to be fixed. I drove by the city staff as they were
As they were
surveying.
looking. That is within Salt Lake City boundaries, that intersection is. The boundary with Mill Creek is south of there quite a ways.
And of course, it's already, when you paved it, then they came in to put in the new lines. with the
That is not.
Yeah, so that's a
not in
maintenance
the area
issue.
that was
The
replaced.
street takes care of.
All I know is there's a huge.
Okay. Thank you.
So, I just want to let people that
We got it.
we have a water problem on 900 East between Westminster and a little bit north.
What was the question? I'm sorry.
I just want to alert people that there may be a water, we don't know if it's groundwater, we don't know if it's springs, we don't know if it's the water line, but if there's water, if you've got seepage, please report it to public utilities.
Okay.
And the other thing is, I have been driven from my house, which is now 900 East is now about a morning and evening rush hour that I can't even get out. And it has completely destroyed, there's potholes up and down 900 between 2100.
Okay. I think we have one last question and then we'll
We
wrap.
got one more question. We gotta keep
And then I'll hang around for other questions. Go ahead.
I'm super short. I just wanted to say the safe streets that you guys have done on like 10th East. Love it. It's really helpful. I live there. It's really nice watching cars like actively slow down the speed cushions. And
Thank
I've
you.
seen ambulances that can go right over speed cushions because it's full sign.
More coming. So thank you for that feedback. We sure appreciate it. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you. Is Rebecca Bauer here? Rebecca Bauer here? We have a new trustee coming, but I'm not sure what she looks like. Annie, you want to come on up?
Thanks. I have a couple of slides.
Could you introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Hannah Barton from the mayor's office. Thanks for having me. I'm super grateful to Lynn and Leah and Bill, Councilmember Young, all for just being a wealth of knowledge. Because it makes my job a lot easier, and they are wonderful, wonderful to work with. I'm really grateful. Before I do my regular update, I am going to talk a little bit about boards and commissions. I will try to be quick. For those of you who don't know, Salt Lake City has more than 25 boards and commissions, which is just an opportunity for residents to get involved in the decision-making process and planning for Salt Lake City. You can learn more about all of those specific boards at slc.gov/boards. Go to the next slide, please. If you are currently on a board or commission representing District 7 or District 6, and you see a vacancy on this list, that does not mean you have been fired. I was informed today that this information might not be entirely accurate, so please do not panic if you think that you're losing your job. You are not. We very much appreciate your service. In that same vein, we recognize that it's hard for residents to find out what boards have vacancies, how to apply, what that time commitment might look like. And so our Deputy Director of Community Outreach in the Mayor's Office, Ashley Cleveland, is working on a beautiful new website, one-stop shop for residents to get on and see all the boards and commissions, who represents you from District 7 on that board or commission, or if there's an open spot for you to get involved. This is just an example, though, of potentially where there may be vacancies. Do not get your heart set on any of these positions. Boards and commissions managers review applications on a rolling basis, so it's possible that one of these got filled today. But this is just a chance to show that there are opportunities for you to get involved with Salt Lake City if you'd like. Obviously, some of these commissions are pretty high profile, like the Planning Commission that makes really big decisions and receives a lot of public feedback. Other are maybe a little more chill, where you can just express what you'd like to see bicycle infrastructure look like in the future of Salt Lake City. We have a transportation planning board just focused on bikes. You'll also see that there may be some positions that are expiring first or second terms. Terms are typically 2 years long, but there is a chance for board or commission members to re-up for a second term for a total of 4 years of service. But that being said, these things change all the time. So maybe if you don't have capacity to serve now, but might be interested in the future, there are always vacancies opening up as people's terms come to a close. We'll go to the next slide, please. The Peanut Board, we love our acronyms in local government. That stands for Parks, Natural Lands, Urban Trails. Thank you. Thank you, Judy. So that we have, I believe Samantha Finch, is she here? Samantha's here. She's our Peanut Board representative for District 7.
Adrian, what are you?
I'm on the Historic Landmarks Commission.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you for your service. Thank you for any of you who are currently on boards and commissions or have been on one in the past, or even if you're just thinking about it. Holly already talked about the opening on the Sugar House Park Authority Board. I do have hard copies of this flyer over on the bench over here if anyone is a paper person. We'll go to the next slide. I just wanted to highlight this opening on Salt Lake City's Human Rights Commission. We really need a representative from District 7. That board is, or commission rather, is housed in the mayor's office. Michelle Moody on our wonderful DEI team oversees that board, and she's really trying to recruit someone. The Human Rights Commission focuses on eliminating discrimination in Salt Lake City, meaning we're hoping that the representatives on that board come from a diverse background and feel like they can contribute to that lived experience and hopefully advocate for eliminating discrimination. So if you feel like you don't fit that bill but know someone who might, please let me know. We are not ashamed to cold call people and see if they'd be willing or interested in serving on that commission. So I do have hard copy flyers for this one as well. We're on the bench. It's a brown flyer. This one did not pick up the color. I don't know why. But please take one, take it to your friends, reach out to me if you just are curious about the level of time commitment or what that would look like, and I can connect you to Michelle for more information. And just one more slide here. If you're interested in serving, Here's a QR code to the application. You can also go to this tiny URL, or you can reach out directly to Ashley Cleveland in the mayor's office, who oversees the boards and commissions. You can also reach out to me. There's no wrong door. This is just one application for all the boards and commissions, which is great. You can check which ones you're interested in, and your application will go into the pot for further review. So thank you. Does anyone have any questions about boards and commissions for the city before I move on? Yeah.
I mean, do you need to show our credentials or CPE? I mean, can we just apply as, I mean,
Great question. The question was, do we need to submit a resume or talk about our skills when we apply? I would say it depends on the board. So yes, as you heard earlier, the Sugar House Park Board is looking for someone with fiscal experience. Some boards and commissions require more expertise, I would say, and are very specified roles that they're looking to fill. Others, it's again like the cycling advisory board that I mentioned earlier. If you are a cyclist, that pretty much checks the box. So there's a wide range of skills that we're looking for, but I would say if you're interested at all, but maybe you're worried about your qualifications, don't hesitate, apply. We can certainly find a spot for you, and we are very grateful for it. And in that same vein, Mayor Mendenhall knows that these are volunteer positions, and a lot of people spend a lot of time serving on these boards. You do receive $30 per board meeting that you attend. And we're trying to think of other creative ways to compensate these wonderful volunteers for their time and try and remove barriers so that we can get more diverse representatives of Salt Lake City to get involved in those city processes. So, any other questions about boards and commissions? Great. I'll jump into my regular update really quick, and I'll try to be fast because I'm sure you're sick of listening to me talk. Okay. As many of you may know, Mayor Mendenhall had her State of the City address last Tuesday. It's a great opportunity to review some of the goals from 2023 and how we accomplished those, and then look to the future, this next coming year, and of course the next 4 years of the mayor's administration. One of her big priorities that she mentioned in that speech is supporting families in Salt Lake City with more of an investment in affordable housing, along with creating a loan program to incentivize more childcare in the city, which is super important. In 2023, 605 affordable units were completed, 260 of which were for those making 50% of area median income or below. For those who don't know, area median income is around $100,000 in Salt Lake City. So for anyone making 50% of that, which would be $50,000 or below, they would qualify for those affordable units. I know that the term affordable means different things to different people, but the federal government sets that definition as not spending more than 30% of your income on your housing. So if your income is $100,000, you shouldn't be spending more than $30,000 a year on housing. And that, of course, yes, I believe that's for a family of 4. I think the individual is less, obviously. Let's see. There are currently 530 units being developed, and the majority of those units will serve those making less than 60% of the area median income. And that's something that the mayor continues to prioritize. She also talked about a couple of exciting projects downtown, the Green Loop, which would be the very walkable, usable, activated green space downtown, hopefully from, I'm gonna forget the boundaries here. Councilmember, do you remember the boundaries?
So it's like
Main Street to 5th West, I believe, and then 9th South over to South Temple, more or less. That would be green space, more walkable. Those of you who have been to New York have probably been on the High Line and know how fun that is to use to connect to other parts of the city, but also just recreate and enjoy some green space and a lot of concrete. We obviously don't have that much concrete downtown, but it'll be a great asset to our downtown community. Included in that is the mayor's priority for a Main Street promenade. She mentioned how there's been plans in Salt Lake City since the 60s to make Main Street more walkable, more of an activated space for families and people to spend time and eat dinner and have evenings out and concerts and everything like that. And so that's absolutely something that the mayor is looking at and hoping to put plans together for later this year. Lastly, I guess if any of you have questions about the State of the City address, feel free to ask me. It's on the Salt Lake City TV YouTube channel, so you can watch the whole address. It's also accessible on the mayor's website, and I believe the whole document was published in the Tribune and the Desert News as well. So it should be really easy to find and read that. Yeah. Air quality, yes, that was absolutely mentioned in the address. I'm sorry, I'm just providing a couple of highlights. I don't want to summarize the whole speech. It was about 30, 40 minutes long. But one of the mayor's priorities to continue to address air quality is an incentive program to get people to switch their lawn care equipment to electric. I know it's actually a huge causer of individual pollution. The other program that the city is looking at this year is an e-bike incentive program to help people be able to purchase e-bikes to use that as an alternate form of transportation. There are a lot of pollution issues contributing in the county, and I'm happy to talk to you about this afterwards because this is a really in-depth conversation, but I just have one more item I want to touch on. The Sustainability Division has a food equity microgrant that is open now for applications. For individual residents, that could be up to $250 for gardening, bees, anything that'll help you make your own food at home. That also includes a community grant for up to $5,000 for larger organizations to, again, help produce fresh food for our communities. So you can apply for that online at slc.gov/sustainability, or again, you can reach out to me and I'll get you that application link. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. And Mr. Chris. Steve, we have one more presenter. This is Steve. Hong, want to come up real quick?
Hello, everyone. My name is Hong Nguyen, pronounced Hong like Hong Kong. I am your Democratic candidate for House District 23. We formally filed January 3rd, so I'm official now. We just submitted our first batch of 1,000 signatures, and we are getting backup signatures. I know many of you here have signed my petition to get on the Democratic primary ballot, so thank you so much. We are needing about another 100 just to make sure that we lock it in. So if you have not had a chance to sign yet, my dear campaign manager, Janessa Jamal, sitting over there, she caught a lot of you while you were coming in, but just in case you didn't get a chance, please sign it. If you are supportive, you want to learn more about me, you can go to Hong for House, that's HOANG, forhouse.com. The biggest support right now, I'm walking doors, and I find that the most successful ways when I'm walking doors to get neighbors to really be friendly and open to speaking with me is that if I have another neighbor walking with me. So if any of you are willing to donate an hour of your time to go knock doors on the streets that you know, the area that you live in, please reach out to us and let us know if you'd be willing to knock doors or if you're willing to host a cottage meeting to invite your neighbors in for about half an hour so I can just meet them. That's gone very well too. So we're working hard right now. We're doing very grassroots style. The things that you all care about are the exact same things that I care about. I've lived in this district for over 20 years now, and so we do have a lot of those same issues. So thank you so much for letting me speak, and I'll be hanging out afterwards if you guys want to come and say hi and learn more about my candidacy. Thanks, guys.
My name, this is working, right? Okay, here we go. My name is Steve Winters, and I'm a paid tutor in the Salt Lake City School District. And 12 years ago, I got a spam email that kind of messed up my life a lot. And I'm going to mess up your life now with that same email information. But it said along the top, 50 reasons to oppose water fluoridation. And when I read it, I laughed. I thought, well, I voted for water fluoridation. I think this is great. But I read the first reason, it was excellent. All the reasons got more excellent as I was reading through those 50 reasons. And it was a toxicologist from New York Public University whose wife 30 years ago said, you know more about fluoride than anybody else in the United States. You got to educate people about swallowing fluoride so they can get it out of their drinking water. So he set up a website which is called Fluoride Alert. And because of this website, universities around the country started doing really detailed experiments on, of course, fluoride hardens your teeth. It's a great hardener, but it also hardens fetal brain cells. and it hardens the brain cells of young children during the most vulnerable part of their rapid brain development. And there's been multiple studies in the last probably 5 years. There's been 4 major studies that have come out showing this in children. And because of that, you used to go to the ADA website, the American Dental Association website, and they had a link to the American Medical Association that endorsed water fluoridation. But 2 years ago, I noticed that link disappeared. They still have the link, but it went to a blank page, and then they pulled the link. And the article that I just gave you today is the editor of JAMA Pediatrics, the Journal of the American Medical Association Pediatrics. The chief editor a couple years ago made a podcast where he advised all pregnant women to not drink fluoridated water, to drink bottled or filtered water. But we've got it in our water. And 2 years ago, I was so upset about this because I'm working with the kids that are furthest behind in their ABCs, so I'm thinking, do anything to minimize brain damage, especially during fetal development, because the placenta passes through all the fluoride, just like the heroin, the nicotine, all that kind of stuff. So when you're pregnant, you don't want to have any poison in your body. And about 10 years ago, Harvard classified fluoride as a neurotoxin. And at that time, there was a law in Israel that all the water had to be fluoridated. But as soon as that study went out, overnight, Israel outlawed water fluoridation nationwide. So they went from almost like 95% plus to 0% overnight. Now the problem with, sorry about coughing, I'll hold it. Can everybody still hear me? The problem with water fluoridation in Salt Lake County is that the county council can vote to put it on the ballot. If they have a majority vote, it will go on to the ballot in this November. But the problem is, as soon as it goes on to the ballot, all the big organizations like the ADA, the American Fluoridation Foundation moves in and just swamps all the advertising. They don't even want to have you hear the other side of the argument. And what they've done is they've taken fluoridealert.com. So Dr. Connett and his family set up fluoridealert.org, but the ADA went in and swiped fluoridealert.com. So if you tell somebody fluoride alert, they all go home and type .com, and they see the ADA website about how wonderful water fluoridation is. They don't get the information. And this is what happened. Draper had a vote on water fluoridation 2 years ago, and Brigham City just had a vote on water fluoridation in November. And the problem with both these votes is they didn't tell people about the website. They just said, we're putting it up for a vote. And the problem is, if we have a vote in November on water fluoridation and people aren't educated and they vote to keep it, it's, I think, 4 or 5 years before we can have another vote on water fluoridation. So we're stuck with it. Even if the whole county realized overnight, this is a huge mistake, we can't vote it out for another 4 or 5 years. So my family tells me not to talk about water fluoridation at family dinners because I can get really annoying on this. So what I want to do, I mean, I could talk for 5 hours. I can tell you the history about how it went into the water and stuff like that, but I don't want to wear out my welcome on my very first visit. But this little thing that I gave you is what I sent to the county council yesterday. And when you see these are going to be new things. I've written like 4 of these, So the way you can contact me, I've tried to get big groups down to the council meetings to kind of encourage the council people to put it on the ballot. But I've told them, don't put it on the ballot unless you educate the public. You gotta have a press release. You gotta say, we're putting this on the ballot. Here are the 3 websites. fluoridealert.org, fluoridealert.com, and the Water Fluoridation Foundation of America. And the thing that's so annoying about these guys is they swamped the Brigham City vote. They just flooded downtown area with how wonderful it is to have fluoride in your water, how much the dentists love it. And even in the newspaper, I read the newspaper articles, they had a bunch of pro-water fluoridation thing. Finally, they printed an anti-water fluoridation thing, but on top of it, the newspaper, the editors wrote, this information may not be trustworthy. So it's just so annoying. And the problem is that it's an emotional thing. We've been poisoning ourselves for 20 years. It's so hard to admit, oh, we got to stop this. This is, put fluoride in your toothpaste, put it in your mouth. The toothpaste tube says don't swallow it, spit it out. That's what we should be doing with all our tap water, spitting it out. Don't swallow it. Please go to those two websites. Check out 50 Reasons to Oppose Water Fluoridation. The history on this whole thing is just insane. I won't go into it. Okay. But anyway, yeah, so if you want to talk to me about it, I would love, the first Tuesday of every month, I'm going to be down at the county council meeting. And they've got to vote to put it on the ballot before the end of August, if it's going to be on the November ballot. But if it goes on the ballot, everybody's got to read both websites. So I think that's okay. And you can reach me at Pure Water Utah, if you want, at Gmail. And I also have a Google Drive site that's tinyurl/Pure Water Utah. But I'm hoping some politician will pick this ball up and run with it, because you could win with this. All you got to do is say, I'm against water fluoridation. And then when people realize, hey, this politician's going to save my brain, because it actually hardens adult pineal glands that control your sleep cycle. It messes with your thyroid. Just go to this website. You'll be, it's just, I'll pick it up.
Thanks for coming tonight. Yeah. Oh yeah, Lori Bray.
So you've heard several people talk about, support local business and Sugar House. So I don't know how many of you know that that's why the Sugar House Art Walk was formed. The whole premise is to put art in local businesses. So there are some galleries that are part of it. But anyways, it's Friday from 5 to 8. And we have an Instagram and a Facebook, so you'll see a map. Here's the poster. I know it's difficult to go north on 11th East, 21st South, but you can park at the post office and walk, because they close at 6. And there's a lot of fun activities. For example, you can go to Iron Desert Arts and for $20 make a little ring dish. There's live music at Kizante. There's a lot of fun activities, so check it out and come and support the local business.
One more.
Just really quick, thank you very much for your time. I know it's late, but I just wanted to remind people that we do have the Good Shepherd window at the First Presbyterian Church there on Foothill that we're willing to donate. So if any of you have any worthy causes or any buildings that you might be aware of, it's quite a large, it's probably about 25 feet by 20 feet wide, but we're willing to donate that to any worthy cause that you might be aware of. So please let me know. Thank you so much. Yes.
Is this the window again?
Yes, this is the one that is on Foothill Boulevard.
And nobody, okay.
Okay. Yeah, please.